See. What's up, my plant family? Look, we have our Christmas tree up. It's winter time. I have my turtleneck on. I wanted to do a video, some of the things that I like to do for my houseplants in the winter time. My houseplant care changes a little bit in the winter time, so I wanted to go through some of the things that I like to kind of keep in mind in order to keep my houseplants happy. Here you can see we got our poinsettia. If you don't know poinsettias, quickly they like to be relatively dry, a nice sunny area. Those are kind of the main things that you want. Never wet and cold, that's a bad combo. We have our wreaths, all this beautiful decoration. We've been really this is our first Christmas together here, Samantha and I, in this home, so we really wanted to make it something special. All right, so before we get into it, I want to show you guys what has been blooming in my houseplant garden right now. This is, I believe it's a Daiso cactus. I'm not totally sure, but look at this gorgeous bloom. It's actually even fragrant, and it is to die for. First time for this beauty blooming. All right, so some of the things that I'm going to talk about, some of the tools that I like to use to keep my houseplants happy in the wintertime. If you go down to the description, I will have a link for my Amazon shop where I will have links for all of these different various tools that you might want to make your houseplants a little bit happier in the wintertime. So some of my favorite winter houseplants, of course, I have tons of amaryllis. Every home should have amaryllis in the wintertime. All right, so what are some of the main key features that I like to think about to keep my houseplants happy? With the days being much shorter, we're having our sunsets here at like 4:15 right now. So I love to use grow lights. Grow lights, I think, are one of the most underutilized things in the houseplant garden. More people need to do it. I think the thing is people don't know how to make it look good while using grow lights. So one of my favorite things that I've been using recently, I have a couple of these architect lights, which are super amazing. Look at this. It can go, it can move, it looks cool. And I actually, I use a GE full spectrum grow light in this. It's my favorite because the light is it's bright, it's white, it's not pink or blue or purple. So it looks good, and I don't know, I think it's a really sleek way of using a grow light. If you want some other sort of more kind of industrialized look, which is really not that bad, you want to come on over here, you can see this. Use a lot of these clamp-on lights, buy them just, wherever they're like $8 each. And I also use those same GE full spectrum lights. And what I like these is they really just clamp on to about anything. You just take it, move it how you want, and place it, move it like this. Super important. Now, if you're wondering, okay, you have various houseplants in various areas of your home, how do you actually keep the lights on at the right times? So what I absolutely advocate is using some timers. I have timers. I have about 1, 2, 3, 4 timers inside my houseplant jungle, and I keep them set they are, I think, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. So I'm not going to have them on too much when the day is like dark. They're going to basically be supplementary lights for the daytime because, as we know, during the winter days, the intensity of the sunlight, it's a little bit less. So having this extra light is super important. So using a timer really makes your life so much easier. You want to have a lazy Sunday, wake up at 9:30, well, your lights will turn on at 7 a.m. like they should, and your plants are going to get what they need and what they want to be happy. So definitely use timers. They're not hard to use. I especially like these digital ones. Very easy to set. Another thing that I like to use in the winter time, but also really pretty much all year round actually, is to use these are like heat pads. They're generally seed starting pads. And what they will actually do is they keep about a temperature that's about 10 degrees warmer than the ambient room temperature. So they are perfect for starting cuttings. You can see my rickrack zigzag cactus. It had some extra growth that I cut off. I wanted to start a new cutting. So when I always start my cuttings, I put them on this little seed tray, and it helps them to just root. They root so much faster. I don't know if you guys remember, I brought these pink princess cuttings back with me, and they were just they're unrooted cuttings. I rooted them in like 3 or 4 weeks, and they're already producing new foliage. And how did I do it so quickly? I had them on here for about 6 weeks while they were creating those new roots. Then once they did, I moved them here to an additional grow light. And it's just phenomenal. So especially in the winter when the temperatures are so much colder, providing any new plant material with an additional heat is really going to help. I have my totem pole on here now because it's just been kind of like not doing anything. So hopefully adding some bottom heat will help initiate some more growth. So the seed starting tray is great for year round, but it also even more important for starting new propagations in the winter. Okay, maybe you have seen, I like to use this little, this is a temperature gun. Come in close a little bit. You can see, so what it actually shows, this is gonna show, right now I have it pointed at the soil of my Syngonium and Tradescantia combo, and it's showing that the soil is at 62 degrees. The ambient room temperature in here is 73.2, and the relative humidity is at 38%. So for a lot of you guys, humidity freaks that like to use your humidifiers, having this will help you kind of keep that idea of what kind of humidity you want. Having humidity around 50% is a good kind of low-key rule of thumb. My humidity is a little bit low in here at 38%, but I don't have room for a humidifier, so that's that. I like using this. I really want to make sure that the soil temperatures are staying above 60. If they're below 60, the growth will almost stop. So the premise of this video is not to just keep your plants alive in the winter. We want to keep them growing. We want to keep them happy. We want to see new growth during the winter. So some of these ideas are really designed to keep your plants happy and thriving in the winter. That's why I like to know the temperature of the soil. So you might be saying, I have all of these windows. How do I keep my room at the right temperature without paying $500 a month to heat my house? Because that's a total concern. You know, we all know plants aren't cheap. Caring for plants is not cheap, but we do it because we love plants. We love the energy they bring us. It's a hobby. It's a passion for many of us, and we're willing to make the investment to make them happy because it brings so much happiness to us. Okay, long story short. So I like to use this guy. This is a Vornado like thermal heater that is heating this room. I keep this on 24/7, and yes, it does add to my electric bill, but I keep the rest of my house at like 67 degrees. And so having this on in this room keeps this room about 73 degrees. And the plants love it. They love it. They don't stop growing in the wintertime. So using one of these in your plant room, if you have a plant room, which most of us probably have most of our plants clustered in one area, which is the brightest, best sunlit area of your room. So think about adding this. It's super important. Okay, so in terms of watering in the wintertime, you might be thinking, you know, less sunlight, less warmth, we're gonna be watering less. And yes, we will be watering less. Normally I would water my houseplants about once every 3 or 4 days in the summertime. Now I'm watering about once every 5 or 6 days. The reason that I'm still able to water on a relatively frequent basis is because, like I was telling you guys, I have the lighting and I have the warmth. We remember photosynthesis, combining sunlight with water is the way that a food gets its energy. I'm not a scientist, I'm not a botanist, so maybe I botched that a little bit, but essentially that is how a plant actually eats and grows. So irrespective of that, you've probably heard me mention that when I'm watering my houseplants, I like to do small amounts of watering, maybe 6 to 8 ounces of water for a plant this size, rather than, I'm not watering these through to see water come out the bottom like I might in the summertime, or how I definitely would for my outdoor plants. And the reason why I like to water a little bit of water more frequently than less water less frequently is that I'm not a fan of the gnats. In the wintertime with cooler temperatures, wet plants are going to bring gnats to your houseplant space. We've all experienced them. They suck. I don't want a gnat infestation. That's one of the reasons why I keep my room warm, and another reason why I like to water a little bit more frequently than a lot of water less frequently. So experiment with that, see how it works for you. I think my plants look pretty happy, and I don't have gnats now. Hopefully they don't come in further in the winter time. But that's pretty much it. With all that in mind, that's really how I keep my houseplants happy in the wintertime. And they're not just happy, they are smiling with joy. Especially when they get me little flowers like this, it makes me smile with joy too. So anyways, if you have any other tips that you like to do for your houseplants in the wintertime that I didn't mention here, please write them in the comments. If you disagree with what I say, please write it in the comments. If you agree with what I say, leave me a comment as well. We're here to learn from each other, to share our experiences and our knowledges and build this plant community. Anyways, thank you for watching me here on Plant Vibrations. Stay tuned, more videos every single week. All right, I'll catch you later. Ciao.